More than 60 Palestinian martyrs fall during the past 24 hours as a result of the savage Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip. Moscow, President al-Assad's speech stresses the necessity of a ripening national cohesion that serves the country's interests. Syrian Arab Army units target terrorist gatherings in al-Quneitra, Homs and Aleppo, killing and wounding scores of terrorists. Iran and Group 5+1 agree on extending talks for 4 months to reach final agreement. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Daraa Countryside with the news in English. Russia said that President Bashar al-Assad's speech drove home a message about the necessity of a ripening national cohesion that serves the country's interests, rebuilding and continuation of anti-terrorism efforts at this critical juncture of Syria's history. Commenting on the speech that President al-Assad delivered after taking the oath for a new term in office, the Russian Foreign Ministry said in a statement, "It is exceptionally important amid the current conditions in Syria to keep state institutions functioning for the sake of having humanitarian situation improved," which, according to the ministry, was confirmed by President al-Assad's inauguration ceremony. The statement added that the political and military situation in Syria remains tense amid multiplying terrorist brutal crimes, peaceful people getting killed and social and economic infrastructures destroyed. The statement added that in this context, developments have been happening in terms of the government's stances for solving the humanitarian issues of crisis-hit citizens, broadening the scope of national reconciliations and an amnesty decree still in effect. Captives from the occupied Syrian Golan who are detained in the Israeli Shakha prison issued a statement in which they affirmed that they stand behind the leadership of President Bashar al-Assad and are committed to standing fast in the face of occupation. In the statement, the captives voiced confidence that Syria will be victorious over terrorism, saluting their homeland, Syria's civilian and army martyrs, the Syrian Arab Army and President Bashar al-Assad and the Syrian leadership. They congratulated the Syrian people on the success of the presidential elections and on choosing President al-Assad to lead them, asserting that victory over terrorists is imminent. Minister of Justice Dr. Najm al-Ahmad said Syria is pushing ahead with combating terrorism until security and stability prevail anew. Al-Ahmad, who was speaking during his meeting with economic and social figures and directors in Deir Ezzor, proclaimed that the crisis in Syria is in its final stages, with Syria well on course to recovery. The minister added that a project to grant governors extra powers to overhaul provincial councils by appointing council members during extraordinary circumstances is under study. The participants laid down their demands that focused on invigorating local reconciliations in the province, reducing the power rationing hours and delivering humanitarian aid to those in need. In Deir Ezzor, the Syrian Arab Armed Forces, in cooperation with the National Defense Forces, controlled the villages of Ayyash and Ain Abu Jum'a to the west of the governorate. Syrian Arab Army units eliminated scores of terrorists and destroyed their ammunition. In al-Quneitra Countryside, units of the Syrian Arab Army foiled an attempt by about 40 terrorists to infiltrate from Harish Taranja towards Dahr al-Kassar, targeting their gatherings in Ovana town, Abu Shatta and on the road of Batni and Al-Ajraf, as a number of the terrorists were killed and others were injured. In Daraa Countryside, Syrian Arab Army units targeted the gatherings of terrorists in several areas, as a number of them were killed and others were injured, while a number of their vehicles were destroyed. A number of the terrorists were also eliminated by the Syrian Arab Army units in Tafas town, near the footbridge in al-Nuaimi town, to the south of Mzarib town and in al-Tiba town, while a number of their vehicles were demolished in Daraa Countryside. In Iraq, the security forces, with the help of volunteers, cleared the last stronghold for Daesh in al-Latifa to the west of the capital, Baghdad. A security source clarified that the volunteers and the security forces tied their grip over Shakha, the last stronghold for Daesh in al-Latifa, as the security forces killed large numbers of them and seized their equipment. Israeli occupation forces continued their brutal aggression on Gaza amid Arab international official silence. Israel raided different areas in the Strip, claiming the lives of 15 Palestinians and wounding many others. With the new raids today, death toll among the Palestinians rose to 313 and 2,250 wounded. The ongoing aggression has inflicted massive damage on the infrastructure, cutting off water and electricity to thousands of helpless and armed residents. By launching its ground invasion into the Gaza Strip, the Israeli occupation forces have added new barbarous crimes to its notorious record, amid reports of them using internationally banned smoke and poisonous bombs. In response, the Palestinian resistance continued targeting Israeli sites and settlements with rockets and missiles and announced its complete preparedness to face the land invasion. Finally, Iran and the 5+1 group agreed on extending the negotiation period another 4 months in order to reach a final agreement concerning Iran's nuclear program. This announcement came in the 17th day of the nuclear negotiations in Austria, noting that today was the end of the 6-month deadline, which was determined before, according to Geneva's statement. However, both sides could never reach a final agreement for this matter, despite the intense negotiations during the 6 months, but there was a progress in other raised issues, so it was necessary to expand the negotiation period. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam, but after a short break.